we are live, according to this. So, good afternoon. Welcome back to this 2 o'clock Saturday class. And today we're going to talk about metta meditation, the practice of metta meditation, and what metta is, and how we practice that meditation technique. But before I do, I want to put it in a little bit of context, because metta is what are called skillful mental qualities or qualities of mind. Metta, which is loving kindness, and there's also compassion and generosity and patience and equanimity and a whole number of what are called skillful qualities of mind. And they're called skillful qualities because, for one, they don't cause harm either to yourself or to others. And the other thing is that they allow your mind to calm down, to quiet down, and you can achieve some clarity of mind and clear seeing that is not possible without these qualities of mind. So in other words, if you have the unskillful qualities of mind, such as anger and jealousy and greed, resentment, these qualities of mind, they cause harm to you and they cause harm to others, and they also will prevent you from being able to see clearly. Your mind will be confused, distracted, agitated. And the key to everything we've been talking about in this class is learning to see. I always come back to that line, when one sees with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. So this is the seeing we're talking about, the seeing that allows you to find peace and happiness in life. So one of the things that I've said a number of times in this class is that trying to arrange the world to be the way you want it to be is not a successful strategy for happiness. I've said that about 1,000,000 times. But what I really haven't talked about so much is what is the alternative to that? Because that's basically what we've always done. So what's the alternative? And the alternative is to create conditions in your life for these skillful qualities to arise. The skillful qualities like metta to arise. To create conditions in your life for these skillful qualities to arise. This is the path to happiness and peace of mind, which is a much more sure and successful strategy than trying to arrange the world to be the way you want it to be. Now, it's important to note that there's nothing about this that says you don't take care of all the important things in your life. Sometimes people, when you talk about a lot of these Buddhist practices, people say, well, this is wonderful, but I still need to make my car payment, and I need to do my job, and I need to do, take care of my family and take care of my life. And the point is that the skillful qualities of mind allow you to do all of those things better than you can without them. So there's no conflict between what seem like spiritual qualities that Buddhism talks about and the worldly, day-to-day life which we all lead. Because nobody here is like living in a monastery. We're all living day-to-day lives where we go to work or have families and do all these things. So it's important that what we're talking about in here addresses that kind of life. And that's what it is. So, is there any question about what I've said so far when I've talked about these skillful qualities? Is it pretty clear what that means? Now, when I talk about the unskillful qualities of mind, all of them have their defenders. For example, if you say that anger is an unskillful quality of mind, there's usually going to be somebody that says, well, anger is very useful because it gives me energy. There is great injustice in the world, and I need energy to fight that injustice and the energy comes from my anger. But what they don't realize when they say that is that what also comes from the anger is this confused, agitated, and mind that is not able to see clearly. So if the anger gives them energy to act, there's a very high probability that the action will be unskillful and will cause harm, rather than actually be helpful in whatever situation that they're dealing with. So whenever we talk about switching from an unskillful quality of mind to a skillful one, what we're talking about is something like, there is great injustice in the world, but maybe you can deal with that and get the energy to deal with that by the way that you care for the oppressed rather than your hatred for the oppressor. In either case, you're bringing great energy to dealing with whatever this issue is, but you're doing it in a way which is skillful. So that's always what we try to do. We try to find the skillful way to deal with all the situations that are normal situations of life. So today we said we're going to talk about metta meditation and metta. So what is metta? Does anybody, I know some of you have done metta meditation. Do you have an idea of what is metta?
Goodwill.
I'm sorry?
Goodwill.
Goodwill is one very good translation of metta. Loving kindness is another. Just kindness. Any others that you? So you can give it a formal definition. And a formal definition of metta is the unconditional wish for the happiness and well-being of all beings. So the key words there are, first of all, unconditional, which means that your wish for the well-being of somebody is not conditioned by something you want in return. It's offered without any wish for return. There's no wish for even recognition or even acknowledgement. It's simply a wish for the well-being, the happiness, the peace of mind of this person. Or being. It doesn't have to be a person, a living being. And the other aspect of that is we say all beings, so it's universal. It doesn't just apply to those that we think are deserving of our wish for their well-being. It applies to those that we think are not good people. It applies to all. And that's what distinguishes the quality of metta from what we often call love. Any questions about that? Any issues about that? So, one of the ways I've heard metta described as the love that heals the heart but can never break it. So you can tell from that it has that quality of being unconditional and universal. There's no way that somebody can make themselves undeserving of metta from you. So we have a practice, metta meditation, which is designed to create conditions for the arising of this quality of mind. And I think a lot of you have done some form of metta meditation at one point or another. Is that true? Most of you have done some metta meditation. So how did you find that practice? Easy? Difficult? You liked it? You didn't like it? Yes?
Easy and helpful in stressful circumstances when I couldn't just sit
And that's a very useful way to use this practice, because it can be very powerful in dealing with a situation where you're under a lot of stress. And it also works very well with the mindfulness of breathing that we've been doing in this class. So when I use these practices, I usually am using it as a combination. I do some mindfulness of breathing, and then maybe sometime during the session I will do some metta. And the balance between the two can vary from one session to another depending on what's going on in your life and what you need at that moment. But they're a very good combination of practices. Okay. So when you work with metta meditation, the important thing is to come to know what is the experience of metta. When you've done meditation, what kind of experience have you had with that practice? I mean, what does it feel like? Yes?
I feel like a nicer person afterwards.
Good. You feel like a nicer person? It
Yeah.
puts you in a better state.
Yeah, and like I find myself more accepting of others, and understanding of, be going through something, like yes, they're doing something I might not like, but they have their reasons, and right now it's not bothering me. And that's a nice place to be.
Okay. So the experience of metta, it should feel a certain lightness, an openness, a sense of well-being, a sense of being kind of at home and at rest wherever you are, in whatever situation you're in, where you can just settle into the situation and feel at peace with it, whatever it is. That should be the experience of metta. And it doesn't always come up that way. And you don't have to worry about whether it comes up or not. But it's always good to recognize when metta has arisen, because that gives you some sense of where this is going and what we're doing with this. Okay, so when you do metta meditation, you normally start out like in the same way you would start out with a mindfulness of breathing meditation. You'd start out with finding a comfortable posture, erect, but comfortable, alert. And we would begin this process of just sort of settling in, getting comfortable. You can go into your breathing, notice your breathing, and allow yourself to settle down with your breathing. But you are still trying to achieve the same kind of mindfulness that you are with the mindfulness of breathing. You're just getting centered, you're getting present. You're feeling that arise. So at some point when you feel that you quieted down a little bit, you can begin to recite what they call the metta phrases. And there are many different phrases that people use for this. If you go online to YouTube or to anywhere online, you'll find lots of different sets of phrases that people use for this. For today, I'm going to suggest 3 very simple phrases. And if you're saying metta to yourself, you would say, "May I be happy and peaceful." That's the first phrase. Second phrase, "May I be safe and well." And the third phrase is, "May I awaken and be free." Those 3 phrases are the one we'll use today. But it's important that when you're doing metta meditation, I think most of you know you go through a sequence of different people as kind of the target of your metta. And as you do that, the phrases may change for a different person that you're offering metta to, because the situation may be different. There may be a different issue with each of the different people, and phrases can change based on that. It could be the same phrases all the way through, or you can vary them. And you can also vary the phrases from day to day. You may, on a different day, need phrases that feel a little different.